Vulcan is a chubby boy who loves to eat. But when he goes to school, a girl named Jean tries to take his food. He doesn't want to give it to her, and soon she stops bothering him. However, suddenly, the two of them bump into each other and they get a poster stuck on their backs. Neither of them can remove it, so they walk to school together, where everyone talks about them until Jean hides because she sees the popular Zahn, who discovers them. Jean dies of embarrassment. Afterward, they struggle to enter the principal's office, and there, the popular girl gives them new clothes for their backs. Jean falls in love with her, and Jean moves away from Candy, saying she hopes she never sees him again. But suddenly, Ken introduces himself in her class as the new boy, and Jean can't believe it. The teacher tells him to sit next to her. There, Ken discovers that Jean has very poor grades, and he laughs at her because he is smart. Later, this makes her nervous, and she imagines herself slimmer, hoping he will fall in love with her. But reality hits her, and she decides to play basketball to impress him. However, the boys laugh at her and tell her that she is too fat, until she wins a game by a landslide, and everyone is surprised. She joins the team, and when they go to play their first game, Jean tries to sneak out of class to see her beloved Zahn, but the teacher catches her. Jean gets punished, but Ken sends her the answers by phone. Jean does the homework perfectly, attends the game, cheers for Zahn, and later gives him herbal tea. Ken feels jealous. Afterward, her friend tells her that Jean is looking at her and thinks it's because she loves her, but it's actually because her stomach hurts from the drink. Zahn leaves, and Ken starts playing excitedly. When he is about to make the last basket of the game, he suddenly gets stopped, falls, and lands on Jean's body, who walks away sadly, just like Ken, who feels like a failure and wishes he were thinner. Later, in class, they insult him, calling him chubby. When he sees a letter on his desk, he quickly tries to grab it, but they take it away from him. They discover it's a love letter from Jean, and everyone believes it's for Ken because it was on his desk. However, the letter was actually for Zahn, which stabs Ken's heart. The teacher asks who the letter was really for, but Carla helps him and says it was for him because he used to be handsome. Jean pretends to like him, and Catman keeps the secret that she likes Ken. They then begin an investigation to find out who put the letter on Ken's desk. He investigates with Zahn in the teacher's office, and they find glitter on the letter. When the principal enters, they hide. Later, Jean tells Ken that Zahn will never love her, and Jean tries to kick her, but Carla says her feet smell. Later, Jean changes, doing a TikTok dance, but suddenly, a man is taking photos of her. Ken fights with the stalker to the death, but it's Ken who ends up getting hurt. He asks Yamaha for help and begs them not to tell anyone because he doesn't want to seem weak. However, they meet again in the rain. Jean is sad because she has bad grades, and for the first time, their wounded souls connect in this world of loneliness. Afterward, Ken eats as if he has been in a desert for 3 years. Jean tells him she will help him lose weight if he helps her get better grades. She will impress Zahn. They both agree, and Ken studies with Jean day and night until his brain melts. But Jean gets revenge on him by making him run until he can't feel his legs. Ken tries to hide from her, but Jean finds him and punishes him by hitting his bottom with a stick. Later, they watch each other through a webcam to avoid cheating, but Jean gets annoyed and starts to hate him more. Jean places a stuffed animal to pretend it's her studying and goes to karaoke with her friends. However, the stuffed animal falls, and Ken thinks Jean has passed out, so he calls an ambulance. Then, her trick is revealed. Jean apologizes to Ken, who says she should keep watching the pervert taking pictures of girls dressed in beautiful and expensive clothes. He falls even more in love with her and feels shy. Then, the perverted photographer tries to kidnap Jean, but Ken and his friends chase him. One of them hits Ken, but Ken defends him with loving hugs. When Ken tries to kiss her, he realizes they are going to hit him with a bottle. Carla protects him by putting her head in the way. The police arrive, and they bandage Ken's whole face. Ken only thinks of Jean, who receives her exam results and discovers she has failed. Everyone laughs at her. Jean says her help was useless, and Carla responds that with her diet, she hasn't lost any weight. Carla tells Jean that meeting her was the worst thing that ever happened to her. After fighting, Ken disappears from her life. The new year comes, and Jean asks her friends if they have seen Ken, but they say they haven't seen him for a long time. Jean can't stop thinking about him. She returns to school, and when she is calmly doing homework, Ken suddenly appears, slimmer and more handsome, and Jean thinks she's dreaming. Everyone is surprised to see him, and when Jean discovers that he is real, she leaves very shyly. Carla chases Jean, thinking that she has had plastic surgery, but Carla says it's a diet and corners Jean against the wall. Jean hypnotizes her with her deep eyes, but quickly pulls away. Carla says Jean is a new house elf and threatens everyone to make Jean sit next to her and be her slave. Later, Jean wants to create a taekwondo club, and Jean helps her, but the girls continuously talk to Jean, asking her to give gifts to Can and declare her love for him. Annoyed, Jean tells them that Can lost so much weight because he has a contagious disease. As Can walks by, everyone steps aside. Can realizes that Jean talked badly about her, but Jean says she is not afraid of her, even though now her muscles melt her heart. Can joins the basketball team again, and Jean goes to watch him, but she annoys him in the middle of the game. Can says he'll get back at her, but his hands shake because the last time he made a fool of himself. However, when he makes the final shot, he looks at his beloved Jean, who gives him strength, and he achieves victory. Everyone celebrates, and Jean starts looking at him differently, which makes Jean jealous. She goes to face Zahn in Taekwondo, and to her surprise, Can bets on her, which surprises Jean. He says he has always believed in her, which makes her feel butterflies in her heart. Then the day of the fight arrives, and both exchange kicks. When they are on the ground, they look at each other with passion. Jean takes the opportunity to make her fly, but Jean remembers Can's encouragement. Thanks to him, she becomes stronger and defeats Zahn. Jean and Can become closer friends, and Can is elected class president. However, he needs a website with photos, so Jean organizes a photo shoot with flowers as if she were an Instagram influencer. When she edits the photos, her cheeks turn red because she thinks he looks more handsome. However, Jean convinces herself that on the inside, he is still ugly, and she makes a rather strange face. Later, they hold the election for class president. Can wins, but Jean discovers that his rival cheated, and thanks to her, he becomes the winner. Can thanks her, and she teases him as if they were a couple. Later, a teacher does not allow the girls to run in the school marathon. Can confronts him, even though it could get him expelled, but the teacher praises him. Jean thanks him for defending the girls, which touches Can's heart, and he becomes nervous. Thanks to a company, Can gets millions of skirts, and all the boys wear them during the race as a symbol of protest. Jean can't believe it, and the teacher tells them to take them off. Meanwhile, Jean is filled with pride for Can's bravery. Then the principal allows the girls to participate in the race. Jean runs the race but falls at the finish line, injuring herself. Can carries her to the hospital in his arms. Can keeps her company and shows her a picture where her legs are visible. Jean asks him to delete the picture, but Can tells her she looks beautiful. They fight with affection. Meanwhile, Can and Jean grow closer, which makes Jean jealous. She puts on a wig to spy on them, but it turns out that Can is also there because he likes Jean. Carla tells Jean they should form a team, and when they go to confront Zahn, they are interrupted. Carla tells them to have a double date. Can says they should pretend to be a couple, and they both fight for Zahn's love. They do everything they can to keep Suiza and Zahn from being alone, but Jean is so clumsy that when she squeezes her food, it falls on her face, and her wig falls off. Carla is worried, and when she touches the wig with disgust, they leave the date defeated. Meanwhile, Suiza tells Zahn she wants to go to the same university as him, but Zahn ignores her. Then Suiza writes to Can, asking to meet with him, and he thinks she rejected Zahn and that her love is free. But it turns out that it's a trap, and he runs away. Later, they enter military service, where they have to work in the field together. They annoy each other constantly. Jean grows fond of a chicken and one of its eggs, but at night, she returns to find the egg is empty and dead. Jean cries with sadness in the rain, and when she arrives home, she discovers she has a fever. The next day, the teacher tells them that Jean has a very serious pneumonia, and Carla worries about her. Then Suiza tells Can they should spend the last days of school together so their parents can meet, but Can only wants to visit his beloved Jean. When Zahn shows up, he brings Jean her assignments and tells her he will come every day to help her with her exams. Can buys food for Jean, but when he is about to give it to her, he discovers it's a scam, and intense jealousy pierces his heart. He leaves the food at her door. Later, Can records Jean for a TikTok video, and Suiza asks to have a date. But once there, Can discovers that Suiza is only using him to make Jean jealous and that she doesn't actually love him. Meanwhile, Jean takes a picture of Can while he sleeps, and when he drools, Zahn wipes it off. Jean kisses his hand, which excites Can. Can decides to help Suiza win Zahn's love, almost separating from Jean, who discovers that her parents decorated her room with Hello Kitty. She lies to them, saying she loves it. At school, she wants to talk to Can, but she can't get close to him because his friend is always near him, who gets upset that they seem like such good friends. Can doesn't know why she's mad at him. He tries to make her smile and touch the edge of her soul, and eventually, she says she's angry because he didn't visit her at the hospital. but Ken replies that Zahn was always with her, and he didn't want to interfere with their relationship. Jean wants to tell him that she only loves him, but suddenly, she hits her face on a tree and loses her nose. The two make up, and Ken tells her that she's his best friend, but Jean makes a gesture as if she's going to vomit because she thinks it's too cheesy. Later, Zahn and Jean make faces together, and when he touches her, Ken feels painful jealousy. Afterward, Jean takes a final exam, and thanks to Ken's help, she passes. However, the teacher thinks she cheated, and she fails. Jean arrives home crying, and her father even took a hammer to hit the teacher, but he keeps denying it until Ken, tired of it, confronts the teacher, saying that Jean is very smart and deserves the passing grade for her effort. Then Zahn and the other classmates also support her, and the teacher leaves the class scared, and the principal fires him for his bad behavior. Jean's parents invite Ken for dinner and tell him that he's very handsome, which embarrasses Jean. Her parents thank him for helping their daughter and being so kind to her. They all start singing karaoke like crazy, and later, they go up to her room where Jean tells him that she's envious of his family because her parents divorced and her mother spent very little time with her. Then, Jean covers her eyes so she doesn't see the decoration, but they both stumble, and their eyes collide like a hurricane of love. Then, they quickly step away, awkward and shy. But when they get back to their homes, they think about becoming a couple. Later, summer arrives, and Zahn is preparing for university with his friends, while Jean wants to be a painter and works in a taekwondo club where Zahn is also. They both find themselves separated, following their dreams. But Jean tells Ken that she notices something different about him, and it's because she misses him. Ken finds out that Zahn is with her, so he calls her and pretends that he's just kissing someone and going to dinner with them to make her jealous. Jean gets mad and says that Zahn is also going to have a date with her, so they both send fake photos to make each other jealous, but in reality, they just want to kiss each other. Later, they are invited to Jean's parents' wedding, and Ken is about to confess his love, so he gets ready in front of the mirror, practicing how to seduce her, as if he were Maluma. Meanwhile, Fanny and Jean go to the hotel where the wedding is being held. Fanny gives Jean a necklace with an alarm system and says that her safety is the most important thing to him. Jean laughs with her friend because it seems like Fanny likes her. Later, Jean and her friend try on the wedding dresses, and Zahn gets hypnotized by her beauty. He tells her that she's beautiful, and they take a photo together. Ken gets jealous when he sees the photo and for a moment believes that she's the one getting married, but Jean tells him that she's going to be the maid of honor. Still, Ken isn't calm, and when Jean and Zahn are singing karaoke, Ken anxiously looks for Zahn. Ken says that he doesn't sing well and touches him to teach him how to do it better, but Zahn feels his touch like a volcano of love exploding in his heart. Ken interrupts a couple kissing, thinking it was them, and later finds Zahn but lies, saying that he only went to sing because he doesn't want Jean to know that he thinks every second away from her is killing him inside. That's why, when the wedding of Jean's parents arrives, they sing together to bless their love. Ken advances and holds Jean's hand to sing with her. Ken looks at her with eternal love, and after the wedding, Jean chases him and asks if he came to ruin the wedding. But Ken tells her that she's always been the one he loved, as when he was fat, she opened her heart to him and gave him the encouragement he needed. For that reason, now he screams that he will never forget her and that his heart belongs to her. Then, the last exams arrive, and Jean passes, but her mother tries to hit her because she blames her for not wanting to do ballet. Since she was little, her mother always pressured her to be a dancer. But at her house, Jean tells her that she hates ballet and has never considered her feelings. Meanwhile, Ken says that he also passed his exams, and the two promise to attend the same university. However, Ken's father becomes very ill, and the doctor tells him he has cancer. As a result, his mother goes back to China to care for him, leaving Ken alone in his house. Jean's parents suggest that he stay with them for company, which Ken gladly accepts. He packs his bags and moves into Jean's house, where her parents are very kind to him. The two study for hours in their room, and Jean's father becomes nervous, thinking that they are secretly kissing, so he constantly bothers them and spies on them. The next day, their friends notice that they smell the same shampoo and suspect that they are a couple, so Ken gets nervous, but Jean eventually confesses that they live together. Her friends are excited, but Jean clarifies that they don't sleep together, though she would like to. Days pass, and living together becomes more difficult because they have to share a bathroom. Jean discovers this while unclogging the sink. At the end of the day, Jean suspects that she might love Ken, because when she looks at him, she feels her heart racing. Then, Valentine's Day arrives, and her friends keep her company, but they soon leave so the two can have a nice date together. Jean gets nervous and says she doesn't like him, but Ken knows she's lying. Later, they have dinner with their parents, and Ken receives a video call from his father, who tells him that he will be out of the hospital soon. However, the truth is that he has little time left to live, and his mother doesn't want to tell him. The last exam arrives, and everyone studies loudly, so Ken puts paper in his ears and then yells for everyone to be quiet. However, the pressure of the exam is so high that the students begin to get acne and lose hair. One student even takes caffeine gum to study better, but suddenly Jean gets a stomach ache and faints. Ken carries her in his arms to her house and takes care of her with all his love, but he tells her he has to go home because he's run out of clean underwear. However, when he gets home, he finds his mother in tears. They then go to visit his father, who is very sick. They are emotional when they see each other. They hold hands, and his father tells Ken he's proud of him and asks him to never forget him because watching him grow up has been the greatest gift he's ever received. Afterward, Ken leaves Jean's house sadly and returns to his mother's house. He organizes a camp to cheer himself up, and while they have fun, they promise to be together forever. But Ken's heart remains heavy. In the following days, he doesn't feel like talking to Jean and is cold toward her. Then, the last exam arrives, but the teacher tells him that his father has a problem. Ken runs to the hospital, where the doctor tells him that his father is in a coma and that he has to sign a paper for a risky operation. Jean worries about Ken's father, and Ken asks her if she has the little bar his father gave him the last time they saw each other. Jean desperately looks for the bar, running through the rain to give it to him as a final memory of his father. Ken screams that life isn't fair, holding her hand and staying by her side to give him strength. But Ken doesn't finish the exam and finds out that he won't be able to attend the university. When Jean finds out, she can't even eat. But suddenly, she grabs his arm and gets angry with him, saying that Jean always knew his father was in the hospital but didn't tell him anything so as not to make him sad. She says that she hates him and will never look into his eyes again. In her room, she takes out the painting she made for him and watches it as if it were him. She apologizes to him. Meanwhile, Ken's mother tries to be kind to him but throws away all the gifts he gave her over the years because he only wanted her love, as she was never present in his life. His mother tells him that sometimes love doesn't work out, as it didn't between her and his father. But Ken thinks about Jean and believes their love will work. So, he gives her a hug and forgives her. However, he still holds a grudge against Jean. They eat in silence, drifting apart. Jean takes the stuffed dog Ken gave her and shows everyone the exam she passed thanks to him, but Ken rejects her message. Because of this, Jean goes to his house, leaves him a note on the door, and heads to the swing where their love began. Ken sees that the note says, "Sorry," written 2,000 times. Ken packs his bags and takes the backpack that Jean hand-painted for him, which he now uses to leave her side. He sees her leaving the school. Ken's mother tells him to say goodbye to her. It's revealed that his father has passed away, and Jean asks him not to leave, as he promised never to separate from her. But with tears in her eyes, she leaves the country, breaking her heart even further. Later, Jean receives a note from Ken, in which he apologizes and leaves all his books for her, telling her that their love journey has been the best dream of his life. Jean then studies day and night without rest, takes the final exam, and when the grades come out, she imagines Ken being with her. When she finds out she passed, she runs to a bridge, shouting with joy because Ken would be proud of her. Then, Jean graduates with her friends. The next day, she discovers that she has been robbed and calls the police to file a report. Meanwhile, Ken returns to his home to stay. He sits in the same place where he first met Jean, who is now an artistic designer. Her boss tells her that a man wants her to design his house, and it turns out to be her beloved Ken, who extends his hand to her. But Jean doesn't know what to do and leaves, feeling very shy. She then puts on makeup as if it were a date with all of BTS. Later, they meet to discuss the work, but her boss notices the tension between them. Jean tells her friends that Ken has returned, and they ask her if he's handsome. She tells them no, even though it's a lie. Her friends suggest that she make him suffer. So, Jean cancels the work with him, but Ken chases after her because he doesn't want to work with anyone else. He apologizes for hurting her, but Jean ignores him. Ken then meets with her and tells her that the police said Jean wanted to recover the stuffed dog, which meant so much to her. The same dog Ken got for her, a symbol of their love. He runs into her arms, but she finds him drunk and leans on him, thinking it's her friend. When she discovers it's Ken, she asks for another chance. But Jean scolds him, saying that he never spoke to her during all this time. Jean falls asleep, and Ken carries her to bed, where he notices that in the graduation photo, she painted his face where he wasn't. His heart lights up, and when she wakes up, he tells her that he wants her to decorate his house, as it was his father's last wish. Then, he asks her on a date. But Jan quickly leaves and heads to a reunion with former students, where she meets a classmate who is now an actress. She's making a movie about the school and filming the scene where Ken said goodbye to Jean, but she can't shed any tears. So, Jean takes the opportunity to help her express everything she felt at that moment. Just then, Ken appears in the distance. Jean shouts that she still loves him and that his eyes are the fruit of her life. Ken then gives her eternal relief, telling her that he loves her too and wants to spend his life with her. Everyone applauds, and they finally share the sweet kiss their souls needed to keep living. Because just like Ken won Jean's heart, it doesn't matter if you have more or less weight. What truly matters is what's inside, because love is a journey that shines in the person you love, not by physical appearance, but by the honesty of your heart. And well, if you like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos.